What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on an article that I came across that of Michael Jordan, his last game at the at Madison Square Garden, where he he wore those Air Ones, right? Those Air Ones just to, kind of like go out in style with the in the league. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up this computer acting all crazy. Yeah, but this is an article that I ran across with Michael Jordan. He was coming into the league. He wore his his wore his Air Ones. And I wanna share this article with you and just give you my I'm trying to get this thing to act right. Just give you my take on Michael Jordan and his career. In my opinion, everything Mike did basically was about about the league. It wasn't about him. I thought that Michael Jordan as a basketball player was just a great. He was a great ambassador for the sport, and for him to like his last game at Madison Square Garden, for him to go out with those Air Ones on, I thought was cool. I read this article, recently, and and I was like, man, this dude Mike was cool from the jump, right? So the story goes, all right. So the story behind Michael Jordan's Air Ones is in his final game at MSG, right? Let me see, and it goes on to, oh, here we go. Thanks to the Last Dance, most NBA fans learned Chicago Bulls guard Michael Jordan wore Air Jordan 1 sneakers during his final game against the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. We remember the iconic scene of Jordan rocking his first signature sneaker in the basketball mecca and the subsequent bloody ties of the shoes being too small, right? And see that's the thing. Like Mike, I didn't remember though that Mike, they said because the shoes were so tight that Mike's feet was bleeding. But Mike, he thugged it out and he wore those shoes at the game, and he just put on a show. But why did Jordan make that decision to put those Air Jordan 13s away for just one game? Let me see. Digital content creator and basketball historian Joey Guynetti recently shared an old newspaper clipping that tell the full story. Right. So the newspaper clipping. Let me see what it says here. They came to pay homage, uh, and Jordan didn't disappoint. It was as if someone spun the earth in reverse, and it was 1984 again. Of course, it could have been Jordan who got the globe spinning with some of his moves. Going back to the Garden, I wanted to see if I could still fit in the original Jordans and get out and play in them. So his evidently Mike's feet had grown, and from what I heard, like not only did his feet grow, but the shoes, because they had sat around for so long, they like maybe dry rotting, and they wasn't as comfortable, and they were stiff. So that's why Mike's feet was bleeding, right? Let me see. I guess it's a sign of appreciation for all the respect I've received here in New York. And if it so happens to be my last game here, certainly when you look at these shoes and the way it started and the way it ended, it all started with that, right? So I thought that was a cool gesture for Mike to wear those shoes because that's what he wore when he started out, and that's what he finished up with. Let me see. I felt a lot of pressure to come in and do good and do a good job, Jordan said. I was not thinking about the moves. I haven't given any thought to what's going to happen at the end of the season. I'm still glad I can entertain people with those kind of shots, but you want to believe the blisters. Oh, you wouldn't believe the blisters I have on my feet. I paid the price for going back to 1984. but who can put a price on seeing vintage air lift off again, right? So yeah, I didn't have no idea, or maybe I didn't remember that Mike had blisters and everything from playing in that game. But this article to me just reminds me, it's just, it's just another example of like how Mike approached the game, how much respect Mike had for the game. Mike always put the game first. He was all about the game. And for him to wear those sneakers at that time just shows that Mike, he was all about the sport. In my opinion, I just think that Mike was the best ambassador for the game of basketball because the way he carried himself. And that's not to say that Mike was perfect and that Mike ain't make no mistakes, but for the most part, he was a great ambassador for the sport of basketball. When Mike came along, he helped NBA basketball go international. Not just NBA basketball, but people started following college basketball all over the world. You know, because if you remember, the college kids were the guys who used to go and play in the Olympics way before the NBA players used to do it, right? And when the college players did it, that's when, like, United States, USA, we were way better than most of the teams around the world. So you could take the best college players and put them in Olympics and still be competitive with the people around the world, and a lot of times still get a gold medal. But around this time, the rest of the world was starting to catch up with those college players, and then so they had to start bringing in NBA players. And when they brought in the NBA players, that's when they sent over Magic, Mike, Bird, Karl Malone, and John Stockton, and man, the rest of those guys, man. And then that's basketball really took off then because the world was following college basketball. They were starting to follow college basketball too. But then when they started to follow the NBA, and then the NBA, that helped the NBA grow. It just made the NBA more of a international sport, and all those, fans around the world, they wanted to see Mike, they wanted to see Magic, they wanted to see Bird, they wanted to see Barkley. And when they went to that dream team that year, man, in '92, that was big. That was big stuff right then and there, though. But like I said, Mike has always been, in my opinion, a great ambassador for the sport of basketball. And this article right here just reminds me of, like the things that Mike used to think of to be an ambassador of the game, to show his appreciation, pay homage to. And he had, like, in New York, man, like he had some battles in New York, right? But it was always respect for the city of New York, for the team. Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan always had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. They go way back to Georgetown, North Carolina. And yeah, man. So they always had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. Dig that article, just reading that article, and just going back and remembering some of the things that Mike did in his heyday back in the NBA. So that's my take on it. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, I will check you all out in the next episode. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. I'll check you all out in the next episode.